What's up, guys? Ghost Dog here. Uh, there's been a lot of media panic from everyday Joes that go to work over what's been happening as far as Ebola. Now, I know a lot of other individuals on YouTube have made it a point, and as soon as it happened, you saw videos. But this is the thing: people don't seem to understand that I'm first off, let me explain. I'm very glad that we have an outlet so we could communicate with each other as far as anything, whether it be prepping political uh, racism, uh, discounts at stores. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, when people don't seem to understand that when the media, regardless of which version of the media comes out, like for example with Ebola, we had one situation, another situation, and another situation. Well, people don't seem to realize that if you live in the city, this might make sense to you. You might walk past some guys that have the three red cups. They have a ball, the bait and switch, the shell game. And I want you to put that into perspective because everyone's worried about Ebola over here. But you don't know how much government spending is going on over here. But now we got more Ebola. Oh, well, there's an election coming up. So who are you voting for? Oh, I'm not worried. I'm against this and I'm against that. Oh, Ebola. Oh, I'm gonna vote for him. And anytime there has been a serious situation with the United States or the world for that matter, people have a tendency to forget everything else going on. No one realized that the government has about $16 billion of ammo, and it's going to cost them about $1 billion to destroy that ammo. What kinds? Various, I'm sure. And this was this was an article that I had read on Fox News on October, bring it up here, October 22nd. If you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. The title is under Fox News Politics. It says 10 grand to 10G to watch the grass grow. Coburn report details worst example of governmental waste. Google that because this happened during the same time where we had issues with Ebola, but other things go under radar because everyone's so worried about what happens with the possible pandemic. You have a nurse that is a nurse. She took an oath. And that really kind of pisses me off as a healthcare worker because the guys I work with, they're non-functioning. They use G tubes. Google that. You'll see what I have to deal with sometimes. Um, they have no family. They can't function or help themselves. They need to be changed and things like that. When we're sick, we try to stay away from anyone else, whether it be another resident that we work with or even a coworker. And I applaud everyone that goes to other third world countries that try to take care of individuals who can't take care of themselves. The thing is, when you come back home and it seems that you care less of your home than where you were. That's where I have personally have a problem. If you look on Amazon, you will see that Tyvek suits have disappeared. N95 masks that we were told by the powers that be will help you, which is not true. If you want to do anything, you want to go N100 or better, but that's just me. Research that yourself. As a worker in the health field, I personally wouldn't want to have coworkers in fear of being around me. I wouldn't want to have the public in fear of being around me. Hell, just for me personally, I have to deal with people giving me looks sideways just because of the color of my skin every day, let alone if I have some type of infectious disease. But that's just me. But sometimes people don't happen to see the bigger picture. Sometimes people have a tendency to become in a tunnel vision mindset. We we have an election now. Some states are happy. New York, I know you're sad because I am. But a lot of things happen and transpire when people lose focus of what happened. Now the government dropped at least $50,000 on a study of freaking sea monkeys. It was part of a $300,000 grant. Really? But we have homeless people in the streets of Brooklyn, Queens, Buffalo, Pennsylvania. They spent close to over $800,000 to put to I want to say what the article says, but you might laugh at me, to throw mountain lions on the treadmill, pretty much I guess to check their training, respiratory, whatever. The fact is we have frivolous spending going on for no reason, and people aren't seeing that because when certain things happen, you hear this, but they're doing this. Now all that to the side, the Tyvek suits and masks that were recommended by the CDC, go on Amazon, see how many are available. The funny thing is, and I will say this time and time again, there are people who prepare and there are people that don't, because they believe that the powers that be will come to their rescue. Just like how they did during Katrina. Of course. They'll be there, right there for you. You may be able to find some, but the price has already doubled. If you haven't had any, then you're screwed. You might be able to find some from China, eBay. The price is double. So now you have to spend more to try to make your family safe or you safe or whatever the case is. That's because people only believe to prepare when a disaster or some type of catastrophe happens to be imminent. When I was raised, my family would buy extra just to have, because you never know. You might have family that come by. They might be down on their luck, or you might have family that just ends up showing up because they're in a neighborhood. Not that you really wanted them to, but they're there. Now you gotta feed them. So you always wanted to have a little bit extra. Grandmothers were the best on showing that. Oh, bring the grandbabies. I got cookies. Yeah, because they're just making cookies because they just know that when those kids are going to come by, something's going to happen. But that's where we learned how to prepare for from old school. Nowadays, it's everything's technology and no one seems to care. So we have a doctor in New York, in Maine, that just got transferred. Some have certain conditions, some don't. The funny thing is, what I've noticed for the past week, I've heard less and less and less about any type of Ebola. I might hear about 2 or 3 minutes about it, and next thing you know, we're talking about, oh, this race is coming up, and who's voting, and let's do this, and all the focus went from here to over there. Our wonderful CDC has changed their tune quite a few times, and they've been called out on it. And the funny thing is, people don't seem to realize that. They've changed the fact that no, Ebola isn't airborne, but it's just the germs that are in the particles that could go far. So if you're exposed to the particles that are in the germs, really? So you're telling me a sneeze that could go more than 3 meters might affect me, or it can live on a surface? Not really. It could, but it might not. But maybe, really. But people don't see that. I have coworkers that are as concerned as everyone else in the world is, and some believe it, and some are just ignorant. Because the thing is, if you sneeze on something, just from a regular sneeze, those germs might not last that long. But considering Ebola has a higher lifespan and may be able to last for between 6 to 8, or how many hours, depending on what strain, you touch that surface, now you have a problem. But the funny thing is, this all happened at what time of year? When everyone gets the flu. So if something was to spread, how easy would it be to enable martial law? Because you have people that have the flu virus. There are so many things that people don't seem to look at, but it's really funny. Hand sanitizer is a good thing to have, absolutely. But it also breaks down your skin. It dries it out. The drier your skin gets, the more cracked your skin gets. If you don't put lotion on it, there's breaks in your skin. To a certain extent, if your hands get too dry, they can bleed. But people don't think of what happens on top of that. Now, I'm not an expert. I just sit back and I watch. Because and the main reason why I'm bringing this video up, well, for 2 reasons. I work a lot of hours, so I apologize that I haven't been able to make videos like I have intended. Because I really do want to, but I'm sorry, I need to sleep. But I've noticed that there has been more of a tendency of people to not look at what's going on in the big picture of the world. Every day I post different things that I get from specific sites that deal with Ebola or preparedness, or just to prepare yourself for backups, to prepare yourself if the power goes out. You know what the funny thing is? I could list probably about 5, 6 people that would respond and like things like that. But I'll be damned if there wouldn't be 1,000 people talking about, oh, this baby looks cute, this cat done did this, oh, look at this motorcycle trick, oh, click this if you like my outfit. But then everyone worries about why the world's going to hell. That's because you didn't pay fucking attention in the first place. You're too worried about listening to this star and who's wearing this, and somebody has their behind out and all this other. Really? But worrying about preparing for winter in case power goes out, that's not possible. worrying about having extra food just in case transportation happens to go down or workers actually strike, you're screwed. No, that's not important. I want to watch TMZ and different things as far as who wore what outfit. It's just funny to me the survival of the world is going to fall on people who are usually deemed as individuals who happen to seem crazy or paranoid because they look at everything outside the box. Because when nothing happens, preppers are crazy as hell. But when something goes down, they're fucking geniuses. That's something my girl said to me. She's fucking right. So in the scheme of things, you make sure you prepare yourself for various things. Make sure you look at the news, extract what you need, and then look at the big picture. Because 9 times out of 10, there's a lot more to that story that you're not paying attention to. And there are other things going on in the world that you haven't even thought of. Because if the media focuses you on one thing, there are 2,000 different stories going around and you didn't even pay any attention. So my thoughts on the whole Ebola pandemic. Most you could do is prepare yourself. You might want to look into alternative type medicines. Colloidal silver, I'm actually going to make myself a generator. Because that's something that's been used for centuries. But the government can't place a patent on it. So, of course, that's not something that they gear as a cure. Same thing that they're doing with essential oils. They're trying to get on the companies that say it cures this and cures that. Because the FDA can't make money on something that someone can grow in their yard. You can't say you can cure something without proving it with $1 billion of research and proof that the average person growing in a garden doesn't have. So I'm just sitting back and watching and preparing and waiting. And if nothing happens, then fine. But if something does, at least I know I'm a little bit closer as far as knowing what's going on and knowing the extent of things, because nothing's worse than not knowing what's going on. It's like you're walking in the dark. It's kind of a rant, kind of my thoughts, and hopefully you can relate to what I'm saying. But as far as it goes, they have different suits. You might want to invest in a Tycam suit, respirators that are N100. But what are you going to do? Are you going to walk around with a mask all the time, or you want to figure out if there's some type of medicine you can take to prepare yourself prior to any type of pandemic? I don't know. We'll see what happens. What's probably going to happen, elections are going to come and go, and we're not going to hear much about it, and everything's going to be hush hush, and then all of a sudden something else will happen. But in the meantime, in the back end, there'll be a lot more other things going on, and a lot of those articles that you read that aren't from reputable sources will come to fruition. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Funny thing is, a lot of those articles that people don't believe, I've seen so many stories that were in like Inquirer type papers, like you go to the grocery store and you see those little newspapers on the side, and it's kind of funny. Months later, you realize that that same exact story was true. Kind of like the cheat sheets in Men in Black. Kind of funny. Well, anyway, I just wanted to touch on this, and if anyone is actually listening to my voice, you might want to actually Google different treatments for dysentery, Ebola, in relation to colloidal silver as well as cancer, because Ebola's been around since 1975. There's a lot of people that had it and got rid of it. But the funny thing is, I guess the FDA didn't get that memo because we still don't have a cure for that, as well as HIV. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm just a man that has a job that goes to work every day. You know? Alright, guys. Forever Ghost Dog. Just me talking trash. Stay safe. I'm out.